Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a room full of voices, yet felt like no one was really saying anything? Have you ever listened to a long conversation and realized that not a single word truly mattered? We live in a world where people talk endlessly but say so little. Everyone is in a hurry to be heard, yet so few take the time to actually speak with meaning. But here's the truth: power is not in how much you say. It is in how well you say it. Talking less is not about being silent, it's about making every word count. So stay with me, because by the time this speech ends, you'll realize that true influence isn't found in noise, it's found in wisdom. And wisdom begins when we talk less and speak more. Words are not just sounds, they are powerful tools that shape perceptions, build relationships, and create change. Every word we speak carries weight, whether we realize it or not. The problem is we have become too comfortable with talking for the sake of talking. We fill every moment of silence with words that hold no depth, no burst, and no meaning. We speak without intention, without truly considering the impact of what we say. But what if we change that? What if, instead of talking aimlessly, we chose to speak with purpose? When we use our words intentionally, we give them power. A single well-placed word can inspire, heal, and transform. History has shown us time and again that the right words spoken at the right moment have the ability to move nations and change the course of humanity. Think of the speeches that have echoed through time, the words that have ignited revolutions, inspired generations, and given people hope when they had none. These words were not spoken just to fill the air, they were chosen carefully, spoken with purpose, and delivered with conviction. Yet, in our daily lives, we often forget this power. We engage in meaningless chatter, exchanging words that do nothing but fill space. We talk without listening, without considering the impact of our words on others. We say things impulsively, without reflection, and sometimes without kindness. We speak to respond, not to understand. And in doing so, we diminish the power of our words. Imagine if, instead of simply talking, we paused for a moment before we spoke. Imagine if we asked ourselves, will this add value? Will this inspire? Will this bring clarity? If the answer is no, then perhaps silence would serve us better. There is an incredible strength in restraint, in knowing when to hold back and when to speak up. When we choose our words wisely, we ensure that what we say truly matters. Speaking with purpose also means understanding that words are not just about sound, they are about connection. When we speak with intention, we bridge gaps between people, we create understanding, and we build trust. A few carefully chosen words can mend broken relationships, resolve conflicts, and provide comfort to someone who needs it. On the other hand, careless words can create distance, misunderstandings, and pain that lasts a lifetime. People often believe that being heard means saying more. But in reality, those who are truly heard are those who speak with depth, not with volume. It is not about how much we say, but about how well we say it. A person who speaks less but their words carefully will always have more impact than someone who talks endlessly without purpose. One of the greatest skills a person can develop is the ability to communicate effectively using fewer words. Think about the most influential people in history. Their messages were never drowned in excessive words. Instead, they spoke with clarity, precision, and heart. They knew that true communication is not about impressing people with long speeches, but about delivering a message that stays with them long after the words have been spoken. There is also an element of self-respect in speaking with purpose. When we value our words, we value ourselves. We begin to understand that what we say is a reflection of who we are. Speaking without thinking diminishes our credibility, but speaking with intention builds respect. People remember those who speak with wisdom, with meaning, and with authenticity. When we learn to speak with purpose, we also become better listeners. We start paying attention to what others are saying instead of waiting for our turn to speak. We develop empathy, understanding, and a deeper connection with the people around us. Listening allows us to absorb knowledge, gain new perspectives, and respond in ways that are meaningful rather than reactionary. It teaches us patience and helps us recognize that sometimes silence is more powerful than words. Speaking with purpose is not just about communication, it is about leadership. The most influential leaders are not those who talk endlessly, but those who speak with intention, inspire action, and leave an impact. They do not waste words, they use them to ignite change, to bring clarity, and to empower others. They understand that true leadership is not about being the loudest voice in the room, but about being the most thoughtful, the most intentional, and the most impactful. There is an old saying that goes, say what you mean and mean what you say. This is the essence of speaking with purpose. It is about making a conscious choice to ensure that our words carry weight, that they serve a purpose, and that they leave a positive impact. It is about shifting from meaningless chatter to meaningful conversations, from talking just to be heard to speaking in a way that truly resonates. Talking and speaking may seem like the same thing, but they are vastly different. Talking is effortless. It is something we do every day without thinking. We wake up and talk about the weather, our plans, or the latest trends. We engage in conversations that often carry no real meaning. Talking is a habit, a reflex, something we do simply to fill the silence. It requires no depth, no thought, and no real intention. It is easy to talk because words flow without effort. There is no requirement for understanding, no need for wisdom, and no expectation of impact. Talking is simply the act of letting words leave your mouth. But speaking is something else entirely. Speaking is an art. It is intentional. It requires thought, purpose, and sincerity. When someone speaks, they are not just using words to pass the time, they are choosing their words carefully, ensuring that what they say carries meaning. Speaking is not about making noise, it is about making a difference. It is about conveying emotions, inspiring minds, and influencing perspectives. When a person speaks, they do so with the understanding that their words have power. Talking is common, but speaking is rare. That is why the world is filled with conversations, yet so few messages truly resonate. People talk all day, but how much of what they say really matters? How many conversations leave a lasting impression? How many words genuinely impact another person's thoughts or emotions? Most people talk to fill space, but those who speak with intention create waves that reach far beyond the moment. They leave echoes that linger long after their words have been spoken. Speaking requires clarity. It demands a deep understanding of what you are trying to communicate. A person who talks may use hundreds of words, but a person who speaks can convey more meaning in just a few sentences. A single phrase spoken with conviction can have more power than hours of meaningless chatter. People who know how to speak do not waste words. They do not talk for the sake of talking. They choose their words with care, knowing that each one carries weight. They are not interested in impressing others with how much they can say, but rather in ensuring that what they do say has significance. Talking often comes from a place of habit, but speaking comes from a place of wisdom. It requires emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and the ability to understand the needs of the listener. A person who speaks with purpose is someone who listens before they respond. They take the time to process information, reflect on it, and then choose their words carefully. They do not react impulsively or speak without thinking. Instead, they ensure that their words align with their thoughts and emotions, creating a message that is not only understood but also felt. A person who only talks will often be ignored, but a person who speaks will always be heard. There is something magnetic about a person who chooses their words wisely. They draw people in because their words hold value. When they speak, others listen. They are respected not because they talk the most, but because they speak with meaning. They are remembered not because they are loud, but because their words leave an impact. Speaking is also about authenticity. People can tell when words are empty, when they are spoken without conviction. Talking is often filled with exaggerations, meaningless compliments, and statements that lack sincerity. But speaking comes from a place of truth. It is about expressing thoughts in a way that is real, honest, and genuine. People are drawn to those who speak with authenticity because they trust them. They know that when these people speak, they mean what they say. Another key difference between talking and speaking is presence. A person who talks may be physically present in a conversation, but their words lack depth. They might repeat what others say, engage in small talk, or say things simply to keep the conversation going. But a person who speaks is fully present in the moment. They engage with their audience, whether it is one person or 1,000. They understand that communication is not just about words, but also about energy, emotion, and connection. Speaking requires confidence. It is not about being the loudest in the room, but about being sure of what you are saying. A person who speaks does not feel the need to dominate a conversation with endless words. Instead, they let their words carry weight, trusting that their message is strong enough to stand on its own. They do not seek validation through excessive talking, but rather through the power of their presence and the meaning behind their words. In a world filled with so much noise, people crave voices that speak with intention. They are tired of meaningless chatter, of words that hold no substance. They want to hear voices that inspire, educate, and uplift. The difference between talking and speaking is the difference between being forgettable and being unforgettable. It is the difference between being part of the noise and being the voice that rises above it. In a world overflowing with words, the real power lies not in how much we say, but in what we choose to say. We live in a time where communication is easier than ever. We send messages in seconds, share our thoughts instantly, and express opinions on every platform available. But have we ever stopped to consider the impact of our words? Have we ever questioned whether what we say truly matters? The difference between talking and speaking is not just about the number of words used, but about the intention behind them. Words are not just sounds that fill the air. They are carriers of meaning, emotion, and influence. Every word we choose has the potential to inspire, to heal, to strengthen, or to destroy. Yet too often we use words without purpose, without awareness, and without understanding the effect they have on others. When we talk excessively without a clear message, our words lose their value. People stop listening, and our voice becomes part of the background noise. But when we speak with purpose, people take notice. They listen because they know that what we say carries weight. It is not about how often we speak, but about how well we communicate. It is about ensuring that every word serves a purpose, that every sentence contributes to a greater meaning. One of the most important aspects of speaking with purpose is understanding the power of silence. Silence is not empty. It is full of meaning. It is in moments of silence that we reflect, that we think, that we truly listen. Too often, we fear silence in conversations, rushing to fill the gaps with unnecessary words. But those who understand the power of speaking know that silence is not a weakness, it is a strength. It is the space between words that gives them impact. A pause before a statement can make it more powerful. A moment of silence after a question can make the answer more meaningful. Great speakers do not speak to impress, they speak to connect. They do not speak to dominate a conversation, but to engage in meaningful dialogue. They understand that real communication is not a monologue, but a shared experience. They listen as much as they speak, because they know that true wisdom comes not from constant talking, but from thoughtful observation and deep understanding. There is a difference between being heard and being understood. Anyone can be heard, but not everyone is understood. Talking ensures that your voice is recognized, but speaking with intention ensures that your message is received. People remember those who speak with clarity, with passion, and with authenticity. They forget those who talk for the sake of talking, those whose words lack depth and sincerity. One of the greatest skills a person can develop is the ability to communicate effectively with fewer words. The most influential leaders, thinkers, and visionaries throughout history did not rely on long, drawn-out speeches to make an impact. They spoke with precision, using words that resonated with their audience. They knew that a single well-placed sentence could be more powerful than hours of meaningless conversation. Speaking with purpose also requires emotional intelligence. It is not just about what we say, but how we say it. Tone, body language, and delivery all play a role in communication. A simple phrase can be interpreted in different ways, depending on how it is spoken. That is why true speakers are aware of the energy they bring into a conversation. They do not just focus on words, they focus on the emotions behind them. They ensure that their message is not only heard, but felt. When we talk without thinking, we risk saying things we do not mean. Words spoken in anger, frustration, or haste can cause irreparable damage. But when we speak with awareness, we choose our words carefully. We understand that once words are spoken, they cannot be taken back. They leave an imprint on the hearts and minds of those who hear them. That is why it is essential to speak with kindness, with empathy, and with responsibility. People often assume that being a good speaker means being able to talk for hours, to command attention with endless words. But the truth is, the best speakers are those who know when to speak and when to listen. They are those who understand that sometimes the most powerful message is conveyed not through words, but through presence, through silence, through the energy they bring into a room. We must ask ourselves, are we just talking or are we truly speaking? Are we filling space with empty words, or are we using our voices to create meaning, to inspire change, to leave a lasting impact? Every conversation is an opportunity. Every word is a choice. The question is, how will we use them? In a world where voices rise above one another, where conversations happen at lightning speed, and where words are exchanged without thought, there is an urgent need to understand the difference between mere talking and the power of truly speaking. We often believe that the more we talk, the more we will be heard. We assume that constant communication equates to influence, that an endless flow of words ensures our presence is acknowledged. But the truth is, the power of our voice is not measured by how often we use it, but by the impact it leaves when we do. Talking is effortless. It is something we do naturally without even realizing it. We talk when we are excited, when we are nervous, when we are bored. We talk to fill the silence, to avoid discomfort, to engage in social norms. But the question is, does our talking add value? Does it contribute to something greater? Does it leave a lasting impression? Too often, our words become like background noise, heard but not truly listened to, acknowledged but not remembered. On the other hand, speaking requires intention. It demands presence. It calls for a deep understanding of our words and their effect on those who receive them. Speaking is not just about making a sound, it is about making a statement. It is about ensuring that every word serves a purpose, its craft is scented with care, that every message is delivered with clarity. In today's world, where communication is more accessible than ever, we find ourselves drowning in a sea of words. Social media, digital conversations, and the constant need to express opinions have made talking an everyday habit. But how much of what is said truly matters? How much of it is truly felt? We have become so accustomed to constant communication that we forget the value of selective, meaningful speech. We have replaced depth with quantity, sincerity with convenience, and impact with mere participation. When we choose to speak instead of just talking, we are choosing quality over quantity. We are choosing to be heard, not just noticed. We are choosing to create meaning, not just noise. We are choosing to be intentional with our words, knowing that they have the power to uplift, to inspire, to heal, or to transform. The greatest leaders in history, the most influential minds, the people who have left an everlasting mark on humanity, they were not the ones who talked the most. They were the ones who spoke with purpose, with wisdom, with conviction. Speaking is not about controlling a conversation or ensuring our voice dominates a room. It is about knowing when to speak, how to speak, and most importantly, why to speak. It is about understanding that silence can sometimes be more powerful than words, that a well-placed pause can carry more weight than an entire paragraph. It is about realizing that true communication is not just about expression, but also about connection. The greatest communicators in the world are not those who have the loudest voices, but those who know how to make their words count. They are those who understand that true influence is not found in the number of words spoken, but in the weight each word carries. They recognize that speaking is not just an act of saying something, it is an act of delivering something valuable, something that resonates, something that stays in the hearts and minds of those who hear it. To speak with impact, one must first learn to listen. Talking is often reactive, spontaneous, and without forethought. But speaking is thoughtful. It is reflective. It is the result of understanding, of observation, of empathy. Those who speak with purpose listen before they respond. They absorb before they express. They understand before they articulate. Because true communication is not about speaking first, it is about speaking right. There is a difference between making a noise and making a difference. There is a difference between being noticed and being remembered. There is a difference between hearing and truly understanding. The people who change the world are not those who talk endlessly, but those who choose their words wisely. They are the ones who realize that words have the power to shape perspectives, to challenge beliefs, to move hearts, and to ignite change. Talking is easy, but speaking is an art. It requires patience. It demands self-awareness. It calls for the ability to hold back unnecessary words in order to deliver necessary ones. It requires the courage to stand by our words, knowing they carry weight. It calls for authenticity, for sincerity, for truth. And most importantly, it requires the ability to respect the silence in between, to let words breathe, to allow messages to settle, to understand that sometimes less is more. In a world overflowing with words, where conversations move at the speed of light and opinions are shared without a second thought, it is crucial to ask ourselves, are we truly communicating? Or are we just making noise? We live in an era where talking has become second nature, where people speak just to be heard, where conversations are often filled with words that carry little meaning. But amidst this endless chatter, the real power lies not in talking more, but in speaking with intention. There is a significant difference between filling the air with words and delivering a message that matters. Talking is effortless. It requires no deep thought, no careful consideration, no real awareness of impact. It is spontaneous, unfiltered, and often reactive. It is driven by impulse rather than purpose. But true speaking demands clarity. It requires us to slow down, to think before we utter a word, to ensure that what we say adds value rather than just filling silence. The greatest mistake people make in communication is assuming that more words equal more influence. They believe that talking constantly will make them appear knowledgeable, that speaking louder will make them more convincing, that if they dominate a conversation, they will leave a stronger impression. But in reality, the opposite is true. The most influential individuals throughout history have not been those who talked the most, but those who spoke with wisdom, those who knew when to speak and when to remain silent, those who understood that true power lies not in the quantity of words, but in their depth. Speaking with intention is about choosing words that resonate. It is about ensuring that every sentence serves a purpose, that every idea expressed has meaning. It is about understanding that words once spoken cannot be taken back. They have the power to uplift or to destroy, to inspire or to discourage, to connect or to divide. And that is why true speakers, those who communicate effectively, do not waste words. They do not speak just to be heard, they speak to be understood. In conversations, we often feel the need to fill every moment with words, fearing silence as if it were an enemy. We talk to avoid awkwardness, to maintain engagement, to ensure that we are never overlooked. But the most powerful communicators understand the value of silence. They recognize that a pause can make a message more impactful, that a moment of stillness can give words the space they need to be truly absorbed. Silence is not a sign of weakness. It is a tool of strength. It allows thoughts to settle, emotions to be felt, and messages to be understood on a deeper level. Speaking with intention also requires self-awareness. It demands that we not only understand what we are saying, but why we are saying it. Are we speaking to add value, or are we speaking just to fill space? Are we sharing our thoughts with clarity, or are we drowning our message in unnecessary words? Are we communicating to connect, or are we merely talking to be noticed? These are the questions we must ask ourselves before we open our mouths, because every word we speak shapes the way others perceive us, the way they engage with us, the way they remember us. Great speakers are not those who overwhelm their audience with endless words, but those who captivate them with meaningful ones. They do not waste time on empty statements. They ensure that every word counts. They understand that brevity is not a limitation but a skill, that the ability to say something profound in fewer words is far more powerful than speaking for hours without leaving an impact. Speaking with intention also requires us to be fully present in our conversations. Too often we speak without truly listening. We wait for our turn to talk rather than absorbing what is being said. We focus on what we want to say next instead of understanding what is being expressed in the moment. But true communication is a two-way street. It is not just about speaking, it is about listening, about engaging, about responding with thoughtfulness rather than reacting without awareness. Emotional intelligence plays a crucial role in intentional speaking. It is not just about what we say, but how we say it. Tone, body language, expression, all of these elements contribute to the way our words are received. A message delivered with warmth and sincerity will have a far greater impact than the same message spoken without feeling. People may forget the exact words we say, but they will always remember how our words made them feel. That is why those who speak with intention do so with empathy, with authenticity, with a deep understanding of the emotions their words carry. Talking is easy, but speaking is an art. It is an art that requires discipline, self-awareness, and an understanding of human connection. It is about knowing that words hold weight, that they have the power to shape perspectives, to ignite change, to leave an impression long after they are spoken. It is about realizing that true influence is not found in endless talking, but in thoughtful speaking. It is about making every word count. In a world where voices compete for attention, where conversations are often filled with noise rather than meaning, the true power of speech is not in the number of words spoken, but in their impact. Too often we believe that to be heard, we must speak constantly. That to be influential, we must dominate every discussion. That to be seen as intelligent, we must never pause, never leave room for silence. But the reality is, true power lies in choosing our words wisely, in knowing when to speak and when to listen, ensuring that every word carries meaning rather than simply filling the air. When we talk without purpose, we dilute the strength of our message. We become part of the background noise, blending into a sea of words that hold no weight. But when we speak with intent, when we ensure that every sentence carries value, we stand out. We command attention not because we are the loudest, but because our words resonate. The most powerful communicators in history were not those who spoke the most, but those who knew how to use their words effectively. They understood that true influence comes not from endless talking, but from speaking with clarity and conviction. Speaking more does not mean saying more. There is a vast difference between talking and communicating. Talking is effortless. It requires no deep thought, no real understanding of the impact our words have on others. It is reactive rather than intentional. But true communication is about connection. It is about ensuring that our words reach the hearts and minds of those listening. It is about making sure that every message is delivered with clarity, that every conversation is meaningful, that every word serves a purpose. One of the greatest skills we can develop is the ability to express more with fewer words. In a world where attention spans are shrinking, where distractions are endless, the ability to convey a powerful message concisely is more valuable than ever. The greatest leaders, the most inspiring speakers, the most influential figures are those who understand that brevity is not a weakness, but a strength. They know that a single well-placed sentence can carry more weight than 1,000 empty words. Speaking with impact requires us to be intentional about our message. Before we speak, we must ask ourselves, what do we want our words to achieve? Are we speaking to inspire, to educate, to connect? Or are we speaking simply to be heard? Too often, people talk without purpose, filling conversations with words that lack meaning. But when we take a moment to pause, to think, to ensure that our words add value, we transform our communication. We shift from just talking to truly speaking. Silence is a powerful tool that many underestimate. In conversations, we often fear silence, believing that it is a sign of awkwardness or disengagement. But the truth is, silence can be just as powerful as words. A well-placed pause can make a statement more impactful. A moment of quiet can allow emotions to settle, thoughts to be processed, ideas to take root. Silence is not empty. It is filled with meaning when used intentionally. The best speakers understand that their words gain power when they are surrounded by moments of stillness, allowing their audience to absorb and reflect on their message. Another crucial aspect of speaking with impact is emotional intelligence. Communication is not just about what we say, but how we say it. Our tone, our body language, our expressions all contribute to the way our words are received. A message spoken with warmth and sincerity will leave a far greater impression than one delivered without emotion. People may forget the exact words we use, but they will always remember how our words made them feel. That is why those who speak with true impact do so with authenticity, with empathy, with a deep understanding of the emotions their words carry. Listening is just as important as speaking. Too often we focus so much on what we want to say, next that we forget to truly listen. We hear words, but we do not absorb their meaning. We wait for our turn to speak rather than engaging fully in the conversation. But true communication is a two-way process. It requires us to listen with intent, to understand before we respond, to engage with the thoughts and emotions of others, rather than simply waiting for our moment to speak. Those who listen deeply speak with greater wisdom because they take in more, they understand more, they respond with thoughtfulness rather than impulse. Confidence in speech does not come from speaking more, but from speaking with certainty. When we know what we are saying, when we believe in our words, when we communicate with conviction, our message becomes powerful. People do not listen to those who simply talk, they listen to those who speak with authority, with authenticity, with purpose. Confidence is not about volume, it is about certainty. It is about knowing that what we are saying matters and delivering it in a way that leaves an impact. The art of speaking is not about the number of words we use, but about their meaning. It is about making every word count. It is about understanding that true instance comes from clarity, from intention, from purpose. It is about knowing that sometimes the most powerful statement we can make is not in the words we say, but in the silence we leave behind.